All right, welcome back. All right, so we got 9 games to review. This is going to end up posting late. I apologize to people in the Eastern time zones and Europe and all that. Although in Europe, people might be getting up and all that. So we're going to go ahead and review 9 games, and there's a lot of late games tonight. So I end up being late with the review. That's how that works. Tomorrow night may end up being late. I'm considering going. There's the Abbotsford Canucks game here, and there's 6 games in the NHL. I'm debating about whether or not to go. Be able to watch a lot of the games tomorrow and do notes, and then go to the game and then come home, finish up the board, and do the review. All right, so first up, the Arizona Coyotes in against Tampa. The magnet that I use for the it's a trap, the Akbar magnet. Let me know during this game that if I ever try to put it on an Arizona game again, it will quit. It'll leave the house. They'll all go with it, and yeah, Arizona was not in any shape to put together any kind of upset tonight. And Louis Eriksson being a scratch was, well, you know, the Canucks had a good record with him in the lineup. I know there was a while there where the Canucks fans were convinced that Louis Eriksson was a big part of the reason they win games here and there. So him being a scratch, I thought I'd throw that on the board. Prosvetov versus Vasilevsky. Poor Prosvetov. O'Brien versus Maroon happens at 5 seconds, and it feels like Patrick Maroon has to be the penalty minutes leader after this game. Absolutely, he has to be. There's no way he's not. So the Bolts were sloppy early in this one. Fourth line chances, though, for the Bolts after that sloppy start. They end up getting a power play as well, due to the Tampa Bay Lightning. There's a shorthanded chance for Beagle on a play from Krause. Doesn't go in, of course. Chychrun was denied after the penalty kill ends, and that's where Tampa starts to take it over. Killorn from Stamkos and Ruda at 5:39. It was a nice 2-on-1 goal, and then Tampa Bay presses for more. Again, feel bad for the kid in the net for Arizona. Tampa Bay better after that flat start. Killorn scores at 7 minutes and 40 seconds, and then Tampa goes to the power play. So a chance to keep adding on. It is Stamkos from Hedman and Point on the power play at 10 minutes and 41 seconds. And then Maroon has the second fight of the night against Lawson Krause. Krause had boarded one of the Bolts players. So Maroon went in and did what you'd want Maroon to do. He took the instigator, which means 2, 5, and 10. 17 minutes in penalties combined with the 5-minute penalty you would have had at the start of the game. And you're thinking, all right, so that's 22 minutes. He's got to be the leader in penalty minutes. But Krause ends up with 7 as well because he gets 2 for the board. Perry had a chance that was caught on a play after that, and then there was more dislike between these teams. The Coyotes end up getting a power play. We go to the second period with it's 3-0 for Tampa 3. Jaskin with a backhand that goes through the crease. There was a lot made of Arizona signing Jaskin. I don't think it has worked. Jaskin, I understand he had a really good season in the KHL. It's just not working in Arizona, and I don't know what else to say with it. He hasn't been very prominent when he's been in the lineup. The Coyotes get some chances, some traffic in front of the net as well. The Bolts get a power play. That was a no. Roussel then couldn't bury one, and it already felt like Tampa Bay was kind of looking at the clock and going, well, we're up 3-0. Arizona's not scoring 4, so we'll just kill the rest of the clock then. And then Krause had a chance that was saved and held, and then it's Barré-Boulet on a nice tip from Sergachev with a slap pass, basically one of those shot passes. And at 13:38, Barré-Boulet puts it in the net. He keeps getting waived, but I still think Barré-Boulet is a good player. He had a very good game. Cirelli then had a break, but he ran out of room on it, so he didn't end up getting a good shot because he ran out of space. With 32.3 seconds left, the Coyotes get a power play. In that short period, at the end of that period of the game, Keller ends up with a shot that's saved. So it's 4-0 going into the third. There was then a 5-on-3 for 55 seconds for the Coyotes. Gostisbehere with a point shot that was way off. I don't know where that was going, but in the end, it's all killed off. Kessel with a rush chance, that was saved. Vasilevsky had been good. The shots were even in this game for what it's worth. That's where you get into the dangerous shots. That's where you get into, but how many of them were actually going to end up being goals, right? The Bolts get a power play. They don't score on it. Krause then had a shot. The horn sounds, so we look at the replay. And Krause's shot had hit the camera inside the net, so it went in and out really fast. And it's, players didn't see it, the referee didn't see it, and then, yeah, so the horn sounds to say, hey, that was a goal. Hayden with the assist at 12:40. That gets Arizona on the board. Things get scrummy with 3:22 left. Fisher gets hurt on that play that led to the unpleasantness. And then Schuster adds insult to injury with a goal from Cirelli and Killorn at 18:23. So Killorn with 2 goals and an assist tonight. And the Tampa Bay Lightning win 5-1. They go to 4-3-1. Arizona's 0-6-1. The shots 12-8 Tampa in the first, 11-8 Arizona in the second, 8-6 Tampa in the third. The shots were 28-25. Arizona just doesn't have goal scorers. Power plays, Arizona's 0-3, Tampa's 1-4, and the hits 22-19 for Tampa. Prosvetov saves 23-28. Vasilevsky saves 24 out of 25. There you go. All right, Calgary. So the Flames go into Pittsburgh tonight at the end of a road trip, and it had been perfect so far. And I have to say, this is the most impressive road trip I can remember Calgary having in a long, long time. So it was Markstrom versus DeSmith. Markstrom might have got off to a bit of a slow start this season, just the first game basically, but he's been very good. And Vladar, his backup, also pretty solid when he's been called into action. So the Flames press at 3 minutes, and 4 minutes into this game, the shots were 6-1 in their favor. Pittsburgh was very flat. Calgary's taking advantage. And so it's another good start for Calgary, who had that in New York against the Rangers as well. Gaudreau scores from Tkachuk at 7:22. It's a perfect shot. It's high glove, and it's in the net. The Penguins did wake up after, because at the point where Gaudreau scores, they still only had 1 shot. Pressed by the Penguins with 8.5 minutes left, they get a power play. They then end up with a 5-on-3. There was a double minor in there, so there's a long power play after the 5-on-3. And through all of it, Markstrom making big saves, and Kapanen ends up hitting the post. So there's 7 shots, 1 post during all of that, but it's killed off. In the last moments, Kapanen had a rush chance, but Pittsburgh off the board at this point. Second period, early chance for the Penguins. Coleman then had a chance that was saved. Gaudreau had a chance that was a near miss. McGinn with a chance the other way. So some good opportunities in both ways. The shots were pretty high throughout this game, so there were opportunities definitely for both teams. Zucker with a break, and after that there were some really big saves during that resulting number of plays for the Pittsburgh Penguins there. I had to be frustrated with Markstrom tonight. Zucker, shots are 7-3 Penguins at the half. Markstrom then denies Evan Rodriguez, who is putting his heart out there. He's not Sidney Crosby. I don't think I'm saying anything out of line. He's not Sidney Crosby. So when Sid comes back, you'll see a difference in the attack for Pittsburgh. Zucker with a chance then that was saved. Things get scrummy with 3:47 left. The Penguins get a power play, but Markstrom was the story to this point in the game. In the last minute, there's a press by the Flames, which allows them to get out of the second period still up 1-0. And I think what we're seeing with Pittsburgh now is they're really feeling all of those losses. They're feeling all of those players that are out of the lineup. It is tough to keep your head above water in the NHL when you have that many top players out. Third period, early in the third period, Coleman scores, so he stays hot from Shillington and Backlund at 104. For Backlund, that is his 400th point in the National Hockey League. Good for him. And it was a long shot off of a face-off. It was a set play, and it works. Penguins then tried to answer. Gaudreau nearly buries one, ends up drawing a power play. DeSmith with some game savers there. It's still only 2-0. Penguins press. Markstrom saves. Flames then get another power play. There was a shorthanded 2-on-1 for Pittsburgh. Shillington defended that very nicely. Heinen had a rush chance. He was denied. The Penguins press. They press for a while, but the Flames cleared out. And then it's Dubé just after the halfway mark at 10:15 from Gaudreau and Shillington. So Shillington with a couple of helpers and a big defensive play in that third period. Pitlick then had a shot that was saved, and it's right around here you can tell Pittsburgh's crowd is basically done for the night. Pretty quiet, and then Lucic makes sure it's really quiet with his second goal in as many games at 11:44. Calgary wins this. They go to 5-1-1. Pittsburgh drops to 3-2-2. Again, there's too many star players out, right? The shots were 15-11 Pittsburgh in the first, 15-11 Pittsburgh in the second, 15-13 in the third for Pittsburgh. 15 shots every period. Final shots 45-35 for the Penguins. Power plays, Calgary 0-2, Pittsburgh 0-4. 32 hits for Calgary, 24 for Pittsburgh. Markstrom saves all 45 shots for his 10th career shutout, and DeSmith saves 31 out of 35 in the loss. So, yeah, entertaining game. And for the Flames, they're pretty high up on that board I'm looking at right there that I'll be talking about on Saturday. All right, Boston. This, you could see this coming, right? They're coming off of a loss against Florida. I saw this coming. Swayman versus Anderson. Freddie Anderson, not known for big wins over the Boston Bruins, but he didn't play them a lot as a Carolina Hurricane, did he? He didn't play them at all as a Carolina Hurricane until tonight. Yeah, Swayman, I thought, bounced back a bit from a rough game he had earlier in the year. Early chances for the Bruins. Necas with a fast break that was defended. The shots were 4-0 Boston at 5 minutes. But again, they did this against Florida too. Things get kind of scrappy, and then we get some back and forth action at the half. Chances for the Canes, they couldn't bury it until 15-16, and it's D'Angelo who gets the goal, his first as a Carolina Hurricane, from Shea and Trocheck. And it was deflected. No chance for Swayman on that. They were putting them in off of Boston Bruin defenders. The Canes press for another. The Bruins then get their pressure with 2 minutes left. But while the shots are even coming out of the first, the score is 1-0 for Carolina. Second period, early Bruins power play, and then a press by the Canes during what would be a 4-on-4 that happened after that. And it was McAvoy that went off to make that a 4-on-4, right? Coyle couldn't bury one, and that's where the Freddie chants, they burst out. There was a lot of Freddie chants going on. So Carolina crowd really pumping up their goaltender, and I'm happy for Freddie Anderson. I am. Canes get a power play. That was killed off. No prolonged Bruins pressure. So you're waiting for, like, the Pastrnak, Marchand, Bergeron line to get all things, to get all things all set up. Wasn't happening. Puck pressure was big, and the Canes' transition game and their speed just gave the Bruins fits during this game. Stepan had a chance that was saved. The Canes go back to the power play. They score on this one as Niederreiter, who was all around the net all night, from Pesce and Anderson. Yes, Freddie Anderson at 13:35. That is his first career point as a Carolina Hurricane. Bruins tried to answer. They end up getting a power play. That led to a shorthanded chance for Marty Necas. We then get a 4-on-4 for 1 minute and 27 seconds. Both coaches were unhappy. They were unhappy with both penalties that had been called, and so the referee had to stay away from both benches while that was going on. Svechnikov with a fast break shoots high. Hall had a chance, but Aho defended him. I'm starting to get concerned about Taylor Hall at this point because, yeah, he's not the only one, but there are a lot of Bruins I'm getting concerned about. But Hall's kind of right up there. Third period, early power play for the Canes. The Bruins do kill it off. The Canes, again, no room for that top line. Every time Pastrnak got it, it felt like there were two guys on him. Every time Bergeron, Marchand got it, they were being swarmed. And there just wasn't time for them to get anything set up. Really good defense by the Carolina Hurricanes. So the Bruins get a power play. They then get 1 minute and 1 second of a 5-on-3. So they call a timeout. Whatever they planned during the timeout didn't matter. That was killed off by Carolina. Marchand fires one wide after the Bruins go back to the power play. So the Bruins just spend a lot of time on the man advantage, but Anderson was in the zone. Too many Bruins on the ice, so the Canes get a power play. The Bruins did kill it, but they need offense. They weren't getting offense to this point in the game. So they pull the goalie with 1 minute and 45 seconds left. That allows Svechnikov to hit the empty net. Teravainen with the assist at 19:35. Your final score is 3-0. Carolina is 6-0. They stay undefeated. They are one of only two teams left now that are undefeated. So yeah, it's down to 2 teams, and they're in the same division. Or no, they're not in the same division this year. Oh well. Anyways, so I was thinking last year, like, yeah, they're the same. No, they're not. So yeah, 3-0, 6-0 now for Carolina, and for Boston they dropped to 3-3. And so yeah, Boston drops games on back-to-back nights. Now they got to go home and play Florida again. So it's a rough patch for Boston. Shots in this one were 11 apiece in the first, 13-9 Boston in the second, 9-4 Boston in the third. Final shots 33-24 for the Bruins. The power plays 0 for 5 for Boston, so that's a big part of the story. 1 for 5 for Carolina. The hits were 46-29 for the Bruins. There were 40-plus hits in the first period of this game. Swayman saves 21 out of 23. Anderson saves all 33 for his 20th career shutout. Let the Freddie chants reign. So there you go. All right, next up, Colorado. This was a really tense game. This did end up being a pretty tense game, and it probably shouldn't have been when you look at the shots and the opportunities. But Binnington is actually off to a really good start this year. The stats may not tell you, but he's off to a good start. And Darcy Kemper, I have some concerns. We'll get into that. So It's Kemper versus Binnington. No Ryan O'Reilly. He's in protocols, and it definitely adversely affected the face-offs for St. Louis. That top line, it affected them. It cascades throughout the lineup in this game. I am sure Avs fans will say, we were without McKinnon. Yes. So that's, yes, I understand. Early Avs power play, there was a shorthanded chance for Neighbors, who continues to impress in his rookie season. The Avs scored, but it was challenged as offside. So Sampo Ranta, I believe that was his first goal, and indeed it is called as offside. It is still scoreless. The Avs go back to the power play. McKinnon nearly buries one. We get a shorthanded chance for the Blues, and they were playing very well shorthanded, which was good because they stayed shorthanded a lot. And then Parayko scores from Scandella and Tarasenko at 9:21. That was only the third shot for St. Louis. There were, I think, 12 shots by Colorado at this point. Like, there was a lot of shots for Colorado and not for St. Louis, but theirs go in. So Binnington having another good game and trying to steal one. The Avs get their third power play. We then get 49 seconds of 4-on-4. The Blues get their only power play of the game after that. Murray was limping after a shot block. Pretty sure he stayed in the game. Jost steals. Wallman defends. And then it's Compher. Compher from Murray and Jost at 18-12. And it was the perfect tip by JT Compher. That ties it up. Second period, the Avs get their fourth power play. We get a shorthanded 2-on-1. Makar breaks it up. Makar started getting better. So all of the Makar's overrated talk after the first week of the season proved it was just the first week of the season. More big saves by Binnington. Avs almost at 3-1 in shots. So the ratio was almost 3-1 in favor of Colorado at this point in the game. Joshua with a near miss, and the players have a discussion about it after because he kind of crashed the net. And knock, who's there? Avs fifth power play. I put that's right on the board. Makar to Blasa was saved, and on that fifth power play, they do score. Compher gets the power play marker from Burakovsky and Makar at 11 minutes and 33 seconds. So now Makar's on the board with an assist after a good defensive play earlier in the period. Tarasenko tries to tie it, and then it's Kadri from O'Connor and Murray at 14:40. Kadri, who of course had to fight tonight, he fought in the first game they had against one another, and probably not a very popular player in St. Louis with St. Louis fans. So that unpopular goal makes it 3-1. And then the Avs almost added another. Makar scored after the whistle. So, of course, Binnington kind of loses it. Now, this is sort of, and they even talked about the San Jose game last year. Binnington does lose his temper, and I think part of it is strategy. I think part of it is trying to fire up his teammates. It's an odd way to fire up your teammates. There's always that risk that you're going to take the penalty, you're going to put your team shorthanded. But yeah, he Binningtoned it. So it wasn't as bad as in the San Jose game last year. But still, he's trying to fire his team up. That's how I took it. Third period, Jack Johnson had a chance that was saved. There was some good back and forth action. Perron had a shot that was blocked, and then Braden Shen tightens up the game a little bit from Kyrou and Neal at 4:13. So the fans get excited because that makes it 3-2. That excitement is immediately squashed by the fourth goal. It's Makar from McKinnon at 4 minutes and 51 seconds, and it was a beautiful pass and a beautiful goal, and that made it 4-2, and it took some of the wind out of the sails of the crowd. So the Blues press at 6 minutes. Bozak had a shot during a 2-on-1 that was blocked. Kyrou with a near miss, and then it's Tarasenko, who continues what's been a very strong start to the season for him. He scores from Thomas and Barbashev at 16:01. Nice fast break goal by Tarasenko. That makes it a 1-goal game. Jost gets away with a trip. Not going to lie, that should have been, that they've been calling penalties all night. He got away with one. With 1:49 left, they pull Binnington out of the St. Louis net. And with 38.1 seconds left, the Blues called a timeout. And they had opportunities, just could not get that tying goal. Colorado holds on and wins 4-3. They go to 3-4 on the season, so they've started recovering from a bad start. The Blues 5-1 now with that one loss, and they'll be looking to bounce back in their next game, of course. The shots favored Colorado the whole way through. 14-5 in the first, 16-7 in the second, 12-6 in the third. Final shots 42-18 for Colorado. Power plays, Colorado 1 for 5, St. Louis 0 for 1. The hits were 24-22 for St. Louis. Kemper saves 15 out of 18. Binnington saves 38 out of 42. One of these goalies had a very good game. The other, I think, was Darcy Kemper, but Colorado kept the shot totals against down. and they eke out the win. So, you know, Kemper can still get hot, and then the wins get a little bit easier from there. All right, it is time to change boards. All right, let's talk about Buffalo and Anaheim. Oh, right, yeah, Vancouver and Philly. So Vancouver fans aren't happy right now, and all right. So it was Jones versus Halak, and I saw that and I thought, well, this score could end up being kind of high, couldn't it? So Couturier scores on the first shot of the game from Konechny and Giroux at 22 seconds. The Flyers then almost get another. They didn't. And then on the Canucks' first shot, they got a goal. So it was Hughes from Shannon Highmore at 2:15. And again, I'm watching this and I'm thinking this could be a really high scoring game. And even John Shorthouse at this point said he was starting to write in really small print because he had a feeling that there might be a lot of goals in this game. So the Flyers were winning puck battles. Podkolzin fires one wide. The Flyers get a power play. They do score on this one. Van Riemsdyk from Couturier and Giroux at 6:58. And, you know, this is 7 minutes into the game. It's 2-1 Philly, and I'm thinking, this is going to be high scoring, right? So the Flyers tried for another. Pearson ends up hitting the post, and I thought this could be a 9-7 game. Put it right on the board. Another Flyers power play. It is Hughes to the box for the second time in the game. So he gets the goal and 2 penalties. Canucks do kill it, but the Flyers were the sharper team in the first period. They were rightfully up 2-1. The Canucks really didn't get very many opportunities. Second period, it kind of flips. So this is where Philadelphia looks like the tired road team. Besser fires one wide. The Canucks did do some line shuffling. The shots were heavily in favor of the Flyers as we get into that second period. The Canucks hadn't had any shots at all in 16 minutes during this game. So almost a full period of time. And then we get Schenn versus McEwen. McEwen gets an extra 2 minutes because he grabbed the visor of Luke Schenn while they were fighting. And, I mean, that looked pretty brutal. Like, you know, you're already getting punched by Zach McEwen. That's got to be something. But now he's hitting you with your visor in the forehead and cutting you. So, you know, that's a power play for the Canucks. It was a good power play. I think it got 4 shots, but it's killed off. Pearson couldn't bury one right after. The Canucks get another power play. That one only had 1 shot. But the shots evened up. 14 shots in a row belonged to the Vancouver Canucks. So, yeah, things were looking pretty good. And then there was a late power play for the Flyers. That didn't work. So in the third period, the Flyers get an early power play. That's also a no. Sloppy play by the Canucks, though. Yandel gets a shot out of it. That was saved. The Canucks get a power play again. That's a no. Horvat to Pearson just wouldn't go. The shots were 3-3 at 9 minutes. So there were some good opportunities, but just they weren't getting to the net. The Canucks go back to the power play again, but it was terrible. This power play was awful. And then Pettersson takes a penalty to make it a 4-on-4. Pettersson wasn't happy with the penalty, but yeah, I mean, the standard was already there. So yeah, it's 4-on-4 at that stage. Myers had a chance that wouldn't go. That was after Besser took it behind the net. And you're kind of thinking, I hope he goes for a wraparound. Oh, he gave it to Tyler Myers. Couturier misses wide. Everything's killed off. The fans and Coach Green wanted a call where I think it was Pettersson that got tripped. There's a goalie pull with 1.5 minutes left. We end up with a 6-on-4 as the Canucks get a power play. They call a timeout. They're not able to generate enough. They don't get a goal. They lose this one 2-1. The Flyers go to 4-1-1. Very good start to the season for them. The Canucks drop to 3-4-1. And if you think about that game in Seattle, they could have easily lost that game. They could be 2-5-1. So it's a good thing they came back and won that game because, yeah. The shots in this one were 15-4 Philadelphia in the first, 16-5 Vancouver in the second, 8 apiece in the third. Final shots were 28-28. The power plays, Philadelphia goes 1 for 5, Vancouver 0 for 5. It's a problem. The hits were 41-13 for Vancouver. They had no problem with hits. Jones with 27 saves on 28 shots. Halak with 26 saves on 28 shots. And there you go. The Flyers come into Vancouver, and they get revenge for the loss Vancouver gave them at home in a shootout, which again could have been a game the Canucks had lost. So you're just throwing that out there. Okay, Buffalo. This was tough. This was a game where by the time this ended, I was like, I don't know which team deserves a win really, but you know what? Buffalo continues their fun start to the season, right? So it was Anderson versus Stolarz. The shots were 3-1 for the Ducks at 3 minutes. They started off very well. The Sabres evened up the shots, and it felt like the first goal might be big in this one. Not really. So the Ducks tested Anderson tons early on in this game. Sabres were definitely giving up the middle of the ice way too much early in this game, where it was wide open. And if it was against a better team, I think the Sabres would have struggled. But Anaheim is a team that struggles with goal scoring. Drysdale had a rush chance that was stopped. And then at 15:03, it's Girgensons. He scores from Okposo and Pesek. The Ducks then tried to answer. Haig had a chance that was saved. And the Sabres poked at it after that, which, of course, the Ducks didn't like. So we go to the second period. It's 1-0 Buffalo. In the second period, early chances for the Sabres. Comtois de Gru goes off of his skate. Max Comtois is starting to get frustrated now with not getting points and goals, and he's been around the net on the last few games. He's just not getting those points. The Sabres then get a power play, and they score on it, and it's Asplund from Dahlin and Olofsson at 4:24. And it looked like Anderson might be stealing another one, because now they're up 2-0 in a game where it's at the very least being evenly played. And then Bjork scores from Hinostroza and Pesek at 6:01. So Mark Pesek with a couple of assists. Not bad. Sabres get another power play. We then get a minute and 49 seconds of 4-on-4. Girgensons was denied during that. And then Troy Terry scores from Getzlaf and Fowler at 7:46. So Getzlaf, another point closer to 1,000. Henrique had a wraparound opportunity that was saved. Gru then had a shot that was saved. Things get scrummy after that because you go to the net, right? Henrique then scores his 200th goal to make it 3-2 from Silverberg and Lundestrom at 16:29. So there was a lot of goals in that second period. And it looked like it might be a really fun third. Third period, Okposo had a shot that was saved. We get end-to-end action in that first 5 minutes. But one team's hitting the net, Anaheim. The shots at 5 minutes are 3-0 for Anaheim. Buffalo's shots are missing the net or they're being blocked. And then Benoit scores his first NHL goal from Shattenkirk at 5:59. And so things are tied up. Now, they showed a replay of Raquel hurting his shoulder. He crashed into the boards. Didn't look good. Hopefully Raquel's not out for too long. But it is that time of the year where Raquel gets hurt. So that does happen. And there was a lot of time where the Sabres weren't getting shots. But then, as we get into the second half of the third period, neither team was getting a shot. It felt like a long while that teams were not getting shots. So again, to me, it felt like, is anybody going to win this game, or are we just going to skate around it? Anyways, so the Ducks press. Anderson was without a stick. I don't think they got a shot during that series of plays. Kajula then hit a post with 1 minute and 8 seconds left. So we have to go to overtime. Sabres controlled it on the face-off. The Ducks then had a 3-on-2. That fizzled out. Steele had a rush chance. That fizzled out as well. And then it's Asplund with the winner at 4:16 from Olofsson and Dahlin. So for Dahlin, he gets a couple of helpers. Olofsson with a couple of helpers. Buffalo wins 4-3 in overtime. Not pretty, but it doesn't matter. It's still a win. So they go to 5-1-1. The Ducks drop to 2-4-2. And again, it feels like this is a game they maybe should have won, like the Winnipeg game, and they're just not getting the wins. The shots, 17-12 Anaheim in the first, 14-10 Buffalo in the second, 10-1 Anaheim in the third, and then both shots in the overtime went to Buffalo. Like I said, that 3-on-2 fizzled, and so did the steal chance. Didn't even hit the net. Final shots, 37-29 for Anaheim. Power plays, Buffalo 1 for 2, Anaheim 0 for 1. The hits were 23-13 for Anaheim. Not an overly physical game. Anderson saves 34 out of 37. Stolar saves 25 out of 29. And again, for the Ducks, it's already looking like this is how their season's going to go. But it's fun. They're more fun to watch than last year. Last year, the Ducks were just... It was a downer to watch their games, to be honest. Because it just didn't feel like they were in it. At least now they seem to be in these. All right, next up. Minnesota. So they come in and they beat Vancouver. It wasn't a pretty game. It wasn't an exciting game. Just like this one wasn't exciting. I'm starting to think it's the Canucks, though, really. So this one was kind of an exciting game in parts. It really was. But Seattle is starting to improve. They're starting to look pretty good, right? So that they look like an expansion team, not as much. It was Talbot versus Grubauer. Grubauer's bouncing back from a rough start as well. First chance goes to Dumba. Seattle presses. The Wild would clear it out. Shots were 5-2 Minnesota at 5 minutes. So they came in with the same kind of determination they showed in Vancouver in Seattle. Kaprizov had a chance that was saved, and then it's Hartman that opens the scoring for Minnesota from Kaprizov and Foligno at 6:27. And then Seattle starts to get some opportunities. First, it's Schwartz firing one wide. Bastian then ran into Talbot. Well, you know what's going to happen there. The Wild don't appreciate that. The Wild get a power play. That doesn't succeed. With 7:24 left, we get some more unhappiness. So the emotions are getting high. And then Hayden Fleury scores from Schwartz and Donskoy at 13:23. So play Lithium by Nirvana. I have to say, for a goal song, it's not bad. I'm not a Nirvana fan, but that one, not bad as a goal song. Fleury then nearly adds another. Hayden Fleury, who was a healthy scratch in the last game, doesn't want to be a healthy scratch again. Late press by Seattle. McCann was denied. And then in 1954 of the period, Foligno takes a double minor for a high stick. So that bleeds over into the second period, right? Eberle chance goes high. Giordano had a chance that wouldn't go in, so the Wild survived that. Still 1-1. Talbot then denied Tanev. Seattle presses. What ends up happening? Well, it's a wraparound goal for Hayden Fleury. Doesn't look like a defensive defenseman on that one at all. Donato with the assist at 7:33. The momentum is firmly behind the Seattle Kraken at this point. Bastian was then denied as Seattle presses again, and it felt like this was Seattle's best period of the season. This absolutely, to me, felt like it's the best period Seattle's played all year. Late power play for Seattle. Kaprizov then had a break. Grubauer makes the save on that. Third period, Lizotte boards Geekie. Seattle power play. That is John Lizotte, not Blake Lizotte. So if you're a Kings fan going, wait a minute, did he play in two different cities? No, he's not. He's good. Blake Lizotte's good. He's not that good. The Wild did kill it off. Donato with a wraparound. Wouldn't go. We get a 2-on-1. Sheahan was denied on that 2-on-1. Yarncroke had a shot that was stopped. Lizotte was then denied his first NHL goal at the other end. The Wild get a power play. And Eriksson Ek hits the post. And then Grubauer denied him on his next opportunity. A strong third period for the Wild. And Seattle was kind of guilty of hanging on just a little bit. Maybe not attacking as much as they had in the other periods. And, of course, the Wild fired up to try to win another one on the road. Goalie pull in the final 2 minutes. The empty net goal attempt was blocked, at least the first try. The second wasn't. It's Tanev from Gord at 19 minutes. They would pull the goalie again, because why not? And Giordano hits the empty net for the second time from Sheahan at 19:52. That makes your score 4-1. And Seattle played pretty well. They go to 3-4-1 with the win. Minnesota drops to 5-2. Oh, look at that. Seattle and Vancouver have the exact same record right now. Interesting. And if they'd held on to that lead over Vancouver, they'd be 4-3-1, right? So, the shots in this one, 13-10 Seattle in the first, 17-5 Seattle in the second, and then they were 16-8 for Minnesota in the third. Final shots, 38-31 for Seattle. Power plays, 0-2 for Minnesota, 0-4 for Seattle. Hits, 43-40 in favor of Minnesota. Talbot saves 34-36, played very well. Grubauer saved 30 out of 31. Again, he's bounced back after a slow start. He's looking pretty good. And I think Seattle fans should be happy with tonight's result. That being said, let's change boards. It's kind of funny. Shadow follows me around the room. And he was following me around and he wanted me to like pick him up or take him outside. He's bothering me for something. As soon as he hears the beep from the camera and he hears me start talking, he jumps up here and goes to sleep. So if you see that sometimes where I start a video and then the cats jump on the trees because they know I'm doing a video, so they know that they get to sit there. So, and I can't acknowledge the cats too much or else Bear will start going, oh, are you looking at me? You talking to me? All right. Let's talk about Winnipeg and LA. This was honestly another example of LA just not quite having it, and good for Comrie on finally getting a good result, right? So it was Comrie versus Quick. Which there was somebody who asked why is it that before this game started, people were taking LA to win it? Probably because Eric Comrie was in net, and there's Jonathan Quick at the other end. So that would lead to people thinking, well, LA should win that, right? But at 4:07, Dubois continues his fantastic start to the season from Connor and Morrissey. So that makes it 1-0. It's a beautiful wraparound goal. We've started seeing a lot of wraparound goals. It feels like there's more wraparound goals right now in the NHL than usual. The Kings then tried for another. The shots were 5-3 for the Jets at the half, but Kupari scores from Kaliev at 11:23. So that ties it up. Connor was then denied. The Jets would press. The Jets get a power play. That doesn't succeed. So we go to the second period, tied 1-1. Early press by the Kings. Arvidsson was then denied by Comrie. However, at 1:41, Kempe scores from Danault and Iafallo, and that's on a Jets turnover. I forgot the U in Danault, but that's fine. So I know who I mean. You know who I mean. It's fine. So it's 2-1 LA. The Jets tried to answer. They get knocked down. Well, and I mean legit. Like, I think there were 2 Jets that got knocked down on that shift. Dubois then couldn't bury one. The Kings press at 4 minutes, almost get a goal. The Jets get a power play. We get a shorthanded 2-on-1 out of that for the Kings. Moore was denied on that. The Jets then get a 2-on-1, and Quick robs Evgeny Svechnikov of his second goal as a Winnipeg Jet. The Kings, on turnovers, were spring-loaded at this point in the game. Like, every time there was a turnover, and you can see, too, I changed markers, where the markers started dying, so I'm like, I gotta get a new marker. You can see old marker, new marker. So we go to the third period with this feeling that the Kings are ahead, and the Jets really have to watch the turnovers. Things get kind of scrappy in the first minute. There's a power play, though, for the Jets early on, and at 2:07, Kopp ties the game. From Connor and Pionk. So that's Connor's second assist of the game. Pionk's on the board. Kings tried to answer. They end up going to a power play. We then get 4-on-4 for 1 minute and 8 seconds. A short power play for the Jets. After all that's done, Dubois gets the second of the game. Pionk with his second assist of the game. And that's at 7:35. And suddenly, the Jets are ahead. So over a 5-minute period, the Kings go from having a lead to being behind. And this is a storyline we'll likely see a lot with the Kings this year, right? So Kopitar tries to answer. Basically tried beast mode by himself there. Ehlers then nearly gets one. Ehlers has been fighting it early in the season. Velarde tosses one. It hits the side of the net. Kings press, couldn't tie it. Comrie stops a really good chance for Brown. The Kings did pull the goalie with 1 minute and 20 seconds left. There was an empty net goal missed by Kopp. The Kings did call a timeout. Doesn't matter. They end up losing this game 3-2. The Jets win their 4th in a row. They go to 4-2-1. The Kings drop to 1-5-1. Shots were 13-7 Winnipeg in the first, 16-9 for LA in the second, 9 apiece in the third period. Final shots 32-31 for the Kings. Power plays 1-for-4 for Winnipeg, 0-for-2 for LA. The hits were 35-21 for Winnipeg. Much more physical game from Winnipeg than from LA. Comrie 30 saves on 32 shots, and Jonathan Quick 28 saves on 31 shots. So Comrie, is this his best game in the NHL? It's got to be up there, right? I thought it was a very good game for him. And again, the Kings, it's a long year. 1-5-1, it's going to be a long year. But I think they knew that when they saw the injuries taking place. So you've got Walker out and Doughty's out, and of course they haven't had a Byfield either. When you have a team that's not like really deep, that's a sign that you're probably going to have a long year. All right, last up, San Jose at home against Montreal. So there was a lot of talk this morning. There's been a lot of talk over the last couple of days about Montreal's going to California. They're going to die. This is what happens. They haven't won in San Jose since 1999. Tee. This is all. They're going to come out of California 1-9. This is going to be great. Now, I never said it. I never said it on camera. I never said it off camera, because I have no idea how this season's going to go. I would not have bet on a 5-0 win by San Jose in Montreal. So I'm not going to bet on San Jose winning at home against Montreal, because I don't gamble. I don't gamble, especially on sports. No way. So it was Allen versus Hill. We had no idea Jake Allen was going to have this kind of a game. Jake Allen's had a decent start, and his numbers don't tell you. He's been really pretty darn good for Montreal. The defense in front of him has let him down a lot. And tonight, I don't think the defense necessarily played well, but Allen was like, all right, well, if I got to do this myself. So it was Caulfield facing physical play early, and Cole Caulfield has definitely been dealing with a lot of guys focusing on him. And I think that's had an effect. I think that's where teams have been effective when it comes to dealing with Cole Caulfield. You hit him every time you get a chance, right? The Sharks were pressing at 4 minutes. There was a near miss for Eklund. Eklund had so many opportunities for his first goal tonight. Shots were 2-1 for the Sharks at 5.5 minutes. They get a power play shortly after. That did not succeed. The Habs play improved at around the halfway mark. And to show that, Hoffman gets a goal, his second goal in as many games. Kulak and Suzuki with the assists at 12:09. Dvorak then had a chance that was stopped. Dvorak was one of the few tonight that does not get to decrease his frustration with how this game turned out, although you'll be happy with the team result. Late power play for the Sharks, that does not succeed. We go into the second period. Early third Sharks power play, strong penalty kill by the Habs during that. Cogliano had a net feed, which was a near miss. The Habs had a 2-on-1 that misfired, but then it's Romanov. Romanov gets a goal from Drouin at 8:53. He's 1/3 of the way to the Gordie Howe hat trick. He just missed the assist tonight. So there was a turnover on the face-off. Nice turnover by Drouin to intercept a pass, throw it to Romanov, who puts it in the net. Then there's a near break for Suzuki off of a Vlasic turnover. Vlasic recovers the puck. So nice play by Vlasic after the turnover. Perreault was then denied by Hill, but then it's Gallagher on the power play from Anderson and Suzuki at 12:54. And that causes the Sharks to call a timeout. They're down 3-1. Now Montreal has a power play marker as well. Or they're down 3-0. Sorry, they're down 3-0 in the second period. And that's, that's where you want to call the timeout and say, hey guys, so we want to get this going. You've allowed 2 goals in about 4 minutes here. The Sharks get another power play. It is unsuccessful. We go to the third period with a 3-0 Montreal. The shots were 5-4 for the Habs at 5 minutes. Dvorak had a chance that was denied. Like I said, he had a lot of chances that were denied tonight. The Habs get a power play. Caulfield was getting his chances, and that's the important thing. As long as he's generating opportunities, eventually something's got to start going in the net, right? We get a power play that led to a shorthanded 2-on-1 for the Sharks. Hurdle fires one high on that. Eklund was then denied by Allen at least twice during a set of plays that we saw there. Allen was really the story tonight. Toffoli goes beast mode, fires one wide. Bonino was robbed. Allen, an absolute wall tonight. Bonino was frustrated numerous times too. Couture misses one wide while the goalie was pulled, and then that leads to an empty netter. It's Josh Anderson from Toffoli at 17:52. Anderson from the other end of the rink too. So it's one of those really hard shots to get into the net. And he does, and that makes it 4-0. And then with 2 seconds left, Romanov has a fight with Gadjevich. So, guess they didn't like what was going on, and yeah, they threw down. So Gadjevich gets a fight in this one, and Romanov with a fight, and not bad. The kid gets a goal and gets himself a fight. He just didn't get an assist tonight. So close to the Gordie Howe hat trick. You would have thought the fight would be the one that Romanov was missing. Montreal wins 4-0. They go to 2-6 with the win. San Jose drops to 4-3. They were 4-0. Now they've lost 3 in a row. They're going to have to turn this around. The shots in this one were 10-9 Montreal in the first, 16-10 San Jose in the second, and then 20-12 San Jose in the third. Final shots 45-32 for San Jose. Power plays 1 for 3 for Montreal, 0 for 4 for San Jose. Hits were 26-18 for Montreal. Allen saves all 45 shots for his 22nd career shutout. Apparently his first as a Montreal Canadian. And Aiden Hill saves 28 out of 31. He played well, but the guy at the other end was better. So he had 3 shutouts tonight out of 9 games. And we're still at 42 minutes on this video. So there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And again, now we're down to Florida and Carolina. Who will be the last undefeated team standing? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you guys so much for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.